What's up people, I'm into my third year now of freelancing as a filmmaker videographer, and I've learned a lot along the way. To be honest with you, I had no idea what I was doing at the start in terms of the business side, so I thought I'd share a few things that I wish I knew when I was first starting out. Whether you're a creative student looking to go freelance, someone with a creative side hustle looking to start as a freelancer, or even a freelancer that's working to burn out and not enjoying their projects anymore, these are some of the practices I'm using in my freelance life that could hopefully help you out. Point number one is don't say yes to everything. While it's really tempting to take on as much as humanly possible and get that money quickly, it's the fastest route to burnout and not enjoying your work. So it's really important to remember that you are just one person and you shouldn't take on the workload of a full-blown marketing agency. After you've said yes to a few opportunities and varied up your portfolio, you'll start to find the type of work that suits your style or fulfills you creatively. That's when you can start to pick the projects that are right for you, achieve your best work, and the clients will be happy with the results. If something doesn't suit you for whatever reason, but you have someone in your network of creatives that it could be a good fit for, always provide a client with an alternative. The creative industry is about collaboration, not competition. So when you start getting bigger projects, you can subcontract in your creative peers to work alongside you and potentially take the pressure of that workload off. But really, the best way to do that is effective time management. This is something that I really wish I got good at sooner. One of the apps that I'm using to help is Trello. I have a shortcut to it on my Chrome and open it alongside my Gmail and calendar most days to work as my to-do list. Final thing on this first point, a few friends ask me if retainers are a good or a bad thing. When I first started out, I worked with a few agencies and companies on retainers, which is great for getting that constant cash flow and learning alongside another creative business. But when you take on too many, it can feel like you're working multiple part-time jobs, and it's easy to stop growing yourself as a creative. I'd say depending on your situation, it's best not to take on too many or rely on only a couple of income streams. Having a wide network with lots of positive relationships is just as good to ensure consistent work. Point number two is personal branding and selling yourself. This is something I really struggled with at the start. Naturally, I'm quite a quiet person. I'm not a business person at all. So learning to go out, get clients, network, speak to grown-ups in suits was totally out of my comfort zone. A couple of ways I overcame this was just to force myself into those situations, to go out to these networking events, maybe even go to a networking breakfast and stand up in front of a room full of people. Just push yourself out of those comfort zones. A lot of the time now, networking isn't a scary formal thing anymore. If you use Meetup or other networking apps, you can go for a drink with some creatives or business people at a cool bar rather than like a corporate venue. The main thing to remember is that you're the one in charge of the projects and the people that you'd work well with. Be genuine to everyone, and if for whatever reason you're not in a particular alignment with a project or a client, don't be afraid to do point number one and say no. It could save you a lot of time and stress, and your personal well-being is more important than whatever money that project may have brought in anyway. Word of mouth is still as relevant as ever in this digital age, and I can't stress enough about how important it is to be genuine. At nearly every networking or marketing event I've been to, I've heard the same phrase over and over again, and it's people do business with people. So if you think you've got to don a suit, act all corporate and be someone you're not, you really don't. Be honest and maintain good communication with clients whose projects you're working on, and ultimately try and leave a positive working experience with everyone. When creating a website or portfolio of work, you really want to show off the work you love doing. More often than not, this is your best work, and in turn will attract more of that work. You always want to be putting out stuff that you want to do more of. Now, point number three is something I'm always working on, and it is to get good with money. Now, as a creative and someone who's pursuing what they're doing because they love doing it, money was kind of always an afterthought for me. I wasn't terrible with it, but I wasn't super sensible with it either. But I had to shift my perspective and really see money as a tool for creative opportunity, and that's one of the only ways you're going to survive in the business world. You need to aim to have enough in the bank so you can pursue your best work. Here's a few pretty basic steps that I'm using to do that. You're not always in control of how much you make, but you are in control of how much you spend. And being a freelancer, you're not going to be on a consistent wage. Some months I could make £500, others I could make £5,000. And in those months I'd be going out for brunch every other day and spending way too much. So I found the best way to curb this is actually to get really spreadsheety with it. I use Google Sheets, I've got a little document, and I've kind of worked out how much I need to earn to live every month. I've got my business costs in there, my living costs. I've cut out any unnecessaries, and I've adopted a bit more of a minimalist mentality to get the lowest possible overheads. It's more achievable to do that now, especially as most freelancers don't require an office space, can work from home or have meetings in cafes. Then start to put aside and build up 6 months worth of bills, living costs, business costs, and an emergency fund. This is a stage I'm still practicing, and I really wish I got to it a lot sooner. Once you've got to a 6-month stage, you can move on to a 12-month stage. And I think it's pretty important most freelancers do this, as work's not always consistent and sometimes you might want to take a holiday. It's really important to actually view yourself as a business now. One of the biggest things that helped me was getting the self-employed version of QuickBooks. It's a really great app and I can do all my own bookkeeping with it, see my income, outgoing, track my mileage that's tax deductible, do invoices with it, and ultimately have a really nice little graph so I can see how I'm performing as a business throughout my year. I still have an accountant that helps me do my tax return at the end of the year, and her advice is invaluable, so I would say that QuickBooks isn't a complete replacement for an accountant, especially if you don't have any prior business background. And that's my 3 main points that I've learned by just getting out there and doing it. I'd say that that's the best way for anyone else to do it as well, as everyone works differently and may have different processes or methods for doing things. Ultimately, the main things are: don't take on too much, don't be afraid to be yourself and sell yourself, and try and get good with money. I hope this helps any other creative freelancers out there. It'd be really great to connect with anyone that shares a similar ethos. Links to me are in the description below. If you've got any comments or any other ways of doing things, it'd be great for you to share them in the comments below. I'd be really interested to see. If you're interested, I've done a free inspirational kind of wallpaper pack with artist Rob Draper. I'll put a link to them in the description below. As always, thanks for watching. Till next time.